right, welcome everyone. Today's session is on top SharePoint Office 365 tips, tricks, and tools. I'm Joel Oleson, and I'm here with Karim Roumani, and I'll let us start with some introductions. Karim, you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Karim Roumani. I am the director here at TechReach Solutions. We're a company here that manages a lot of IT services, specifically around SharePoint, and we are very passionate about SharePoint and have a lot of great stories here to tell in this webinar. Really, something centered around TruApps. Back to you, Joel.
All right. Well, I've got a little bit more involved, couple bio slides. So let me first introduce myself as I was the first SharePoint administrator. Started back at Microsoft in the year 2000, starting with Microsoft IT. There was a little project where a couple of different product teams, one called Tahoe, the other one called Office Web Server, and they were looking to be hosted in the IT data center at Microsoft. And I was that first full-time IT hire to basically turn those into a solution and do operations on those. After 7 years at Microsoft, I ventured out into the world and have been traveling, speaking at SharePoint conferences, and working in a variety of different companies, both customer partners at Microsoft, and now I'm working at Konica Minolta Business Solutions as a business development director. Essentially, I look at partnerships and look at our SharePoint practice and where things are going, and spend a lot of time with the community, speaking at events and a variety of different things. You can follow me on Twitter, just my name, Joel Oleson, and my blog, collabshow.com, formerly known as SharePointJoel.com. And as the SharePoint technologies have evolved, so did my blog. So essentially, that's one thing to know about me is I love to travel. And today I am your host. Just last week I was in Dubai at SharePoint Saturday. I did a variety of different conferences, speaking in Sri Lanka, in Bangladesh at a SharePoint event, cloud event, and Pakistan, SharePoint Saturday Pakistan. So a variety of different things. And this Saturday I'll be in Utah. Thursday night I'll be in the Silicon Valley area, in the Bay Area at the user. So to say the least, I love speaking about technology and connecting with the community. So today's agenda is really about tips and tricks. And so I've picked a few of these, and it also gives Karim an opportunity to show off some of the tools and solutions they've built. But really what I've kind of focused on today, and I think I really hope these are really useful things for people who are both new to SharePoint, but even seasoned SharePoint users. I think there's something here for everybody. First thing we're going to be diving into is search. Search was one of the biggest investments in SharePoint 2013, and a lot of those investments pay off for the user. And so I want to kind of show you some techniques around search. The next thing is around OneDrive. It's another huge investment that Microsoft's made in Office 365, and you'll be able to see some of those improvements both for the consumer and for OneDrive for Business. And a lot of those improvements are coming in SharePoint 2016, this next version of the SharePoint on-premises. So I think there's, again, something for everybody in being able to see what's kind of new and exciting around OneDrive. In the demo today, I'm going to try and give you some demos around a number of these things. Durable links is a new feature coming in SharePoint 2016, and this kind of how you move files and work with files. I'm going to show off some of that. The new blocked file types in 2016, invalid characters. A lot of these things have already been fixed in Office 365, but just without fanfare. People don't even realize a lot of these things are already there. So I'm going to show off a few of those kinds of things, along with sharing some of the keyboard shortcuts that can definitely help you be a faster power user with working with files. And then I'm going to kind of transition to helping understand the App Store and a lot of kind of useful things and user tools really for your own sites that you can use in the App Store. And then we'll transition things over to Karim to talk about TruApps and featured some of those, some of the stuff they've got going on, and we'll save that for later. So today, I kind of wanted to start with this slide, which I think kind of frames the conversation. When you talk about what is SharePoint, what's SharePoint Online, it's really becoming much more integrated into all these other solutions. It's becoming the backbone for Office 365. And I say that in context of, well, we may say OneDrive. Well, guess what? It's SharePoint that's driving OneDrive. The team sites, the departments and divisions, up through your intranets, extranets, all of these different things are powered by SharePoint. But they're also integrated with the technologies like Yammer and Delve and the video portal. A lot of these technologies we're seeing in Office 365. But even when we start looking at compliance and some of those kinds of solutions, what we're finding is that the UI to present up compliance and those kinds of solutions through the Office 365 admin interface, a lot of the technology that drives it is SharePoint. We just are hearing the word SharePoint a little bit less. But today's tips and tricks, I'm going to be basically going across a variety of these different technologies and want you to kind of put it in that context. I have created a few infographics that I want to make sure that those who are attending capture. These are accessible to you, and this is one of my search ones that I think is relevant for what we're talking about today. It's essentially 10 key things around search that for improving search in your environment. And so we've got 5 things that are things that you can do as users, and then 5 things that you can do on the administration side for optimizing search. So as an example, as a user, you can improve search by storing your files with friendly file names. Those words you use are actually one of the most important things for returning keywords in search, because title and file name are really, really important. So filling in those titles, filling in really friendly file names can really help. Also, metadata like author, keywords, those kinds of things can also help return your files. Things that have been rated or liked also can also boost results. So if you want to boost results on your files, that's another way of doing it, is by simply rating it or liking it. Any kind of keywords you can add, as well as, say, sharing your list or library as a catalog. Catalog essentially allows you to add visual enhancements to your lists. Catalog was a new feature of SharePoint 2013 as a list type, and definitely helps. Now, given we're not going to be really digging in on the admin kind of side of things today, we'll just leave it at that. But there's an infographic. You can grab all of my infographics I'm going to show today at collabshow.com. The !S equals infographic. Or you can just go to collabshow.com and click on infographic. And this is another one. This is kind of the search tips and tricks one. And this is just half of the infographic, kind of just a little quick screenshot of that infographic. And what this one is designed for users, and it's essentially hints around how search works. Now I'm going to spend the next few slides around helping you understand how to really use Boolean search and this new keyword query language, which is new in search in SharePoint 2013. And is also, it works on Office 365. It's going to work with SharePoint 2016. So these things can really help you as kind of a search power user cheat sheet. And there's basically a bunch more on how to use things like and or near, using those kinds of things in your searches. Now, typically how search works, and I think a lot of users use their kind of experience with the internet. Enterprise search is a little bit different, and search in SharePoint's a little bit different, but essentially your experience with search in the internet world can pay off. And then what I mean by that is essentially you can type in a word and it'll return search. Return pages, or it'll return documents that relate to that word. The other thing you can do is you can include multiple words. If you include multiple words in SharePoint, it's going to by default use the AND operator. And what that means is it's going to say, I'm looking for shoes and boots. Or I'm looking for, and all you have to do is type shoes, boots, I'm looking for tips and tricks. All you have to do is type tips, tricks. Or you can type a phrase such as SharePoint tips, tricks, and then put those, if you use those three words, it'll AND them, but if you use it as a phrase and put them in quotes, then those three words have to exactly be next to each other in the document or in the title and so on. And essentially, I talked about how important title and file name are. Those are very high on the algorithm. If it's in the body of the document, it's lower in the algorithm. And then as well, there's some documents and pages by default that will be ranked higher if there's matches. And those are things like pages, or even on the URL query string, on the URL string, the higher it is up, the higher it'll be boosted in search. So we'll drill in a little bit more on that, but just kind of get you started. It's all about using some words in your free text queries. So let me give you some examples. If you use the word AND, it basically means require. So if you say dog and best friend, that also, it's basically saying those two words have to both be included in the document. They can be anywhere. In fact, one can be in the title, one can be in the body, but it's also the same thing as putting a plus. If you say plus dog, plus men, both of those words have to be somewhere in the document. Could be in keywords, could be in the title, could be in the file name, but those two words have to both exist. They are required. Now, the other way to do it is use OR. And the word OR will basically say this word or this word. And you can as well use things as phrases like with quotes. If you, like as an example, if you're trying to say VB or Visual Basic, it can be either of those things, and I still want the document to come back. And essentially what you're doing with OR is you're expanding search results. If you want to have more documents return, you can try OR and just add additional things that you're looking for on your list. And the next one is not. So if you're getting a bunch of documents that have something in them that you're like, no, that's not the kind of thing I'm looking for, you can either use the word not, or you can use a minus sign in front of the word. And then the last little thing I want to teach you about is near. So essentially, if you're really trying to get a little bit complicated here, you're trying to say, I'm still not finding the document I'm looking for, I can say these two words should be next to each other, should be near each other. You can use mice near men. If you say just near, it can be in any order. But if you say oh near, it has to be in that order. So essentially, I don't give you an example of oh near, but that's also one that's accessible to you in terms of saying it has to be this order, oh near. And the other thing is someone say, well, does case matter? On your keywords, on the Boolean words like and, or, not, and near, all those have to be in caps. If you do not capitalize those words, it will simply look for those words. Okay, so case does matter on those operators, but if, let's say, you're saying Ferrari and you capitalize it, it doesn't matter whether it's capital or not. So now let's just do a quick quiz to see if you guys were listening. Look at these 4 examples of search: social media, social and media, social media with quotes, and then social near media. What are the differences here? Is there any difference between the first one and the second one? The answer is they're the same. If you're listening, you'd notice that by default, simply putting in 2 words is automatically going to AND them. And that means the word social can be anywhere in the document and media can be anywhere in the document. The third one we have here, where it says social media with quotes around it, those 2 words have to be next to each other. And then our last one with social near media, those words can be in any order. It could be social, and those words have to be close to each other. Now, if we included the parentheses and put a number in there, essentially kind of like our last one here where we say n equals 4, then it would say has to be that many words on either side. So basically, those words have to be close to each other within so many words. With this example, we're basically saying any order, media social or social media, without kind of adding a number to show the differences there. So let me jump into a quick demo on just what we've covered so far. Here we've got Office 365 search, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back and jump into a SharePoint site. You guys should all be somewhat familiar with Office 365. There's our little search box, or we could simply jump into a team site. Let's just go ahead and do a search from here. Let's say social media. Now in this example, the word social may not necessarily be next to the word media. But since those words are used quite often together, you can kind of see in these examples, this one has 2 hits in the body here. And then we've got here where it's social media, and then it highlights as well the word social next to networking. If we put this, and we have 4 results. Let's just expand our results by saying social or media. And look how many documents we have now. We've gone up to 39 results in this example. As an example as well, if we've said SharePoint deployment, planning, services, if we just simply looked at, you can see, oh, well, there's a ton of documents that have the word SharePoint in them. But really what we want to say is, yeah, there's a bunch of results. If we simply, but all of those words have to exist in the document because we have and. If we said or, which is not default, then we'd get more documents. We want to narrow this down even further by saying these words have to exist together. We put in quotes. Now we've narrowed down from 17 down to just the documents, and this one here even has it right in the title. So that's nice and powerful. This one has it a couple times in there. This one looks like it's got it highlighting. And there's other things that can be at play here, like it could be that it's fresh, it's popular. There's a number of reasons why it could be. And in fact, it's very possible that because it's a PowerPoint, it's even getting a boost, rather than something that's a list item or something like that, a little page here. You can even see with SharePoint or Office 365 here, we're even seeing the number of views. That's a feature of SharePoint 2013 as well. And as well with these search refiners, we can further narrow down our results to say we're only looking at most recent, and there's that most recent document. All right. Let's go back to this for a second. Now this is where things start to get a little bit more complicated, but I hope you guys can stick with me. In search, we have this concept of wildcard search. Now wildcard search basically allows us to say it starts with this, but I don't know the end of it. So as an example, we could say micro asterisk. We'll look for things that say Microsoft or microchip. Really useful when it comes to spelling of names. Like if you don't know the spelling of the last person's name, like maybe it's Dave Johnson, or with my name, I know people get a lot of confused. Joel Oleson or Joel Oleson. just by typing, and we wanted to use the phrase here, we use Joel space OL and then the asterisk, we'll find documents containing either one. So example, if you said Bob, you could say Bob or Robert. So there's a lot of different ways of kind of searching on names, but this wildcard can come in handy when you don't necessarily know the exact spelling. And as well, this could come in handy on authors of documents as an example. So for example, here we have this property search, which is also new in SharePoint 2013. We have author equals James Baker. We're using the quotes because we don't want this to be author James and the word Baker. We want this to be the author is James Baker. So we use quotes around James Baker. We could say file type is PowerPoint. You'll notice if you do file type PowerPoint with the PPTX, you'll only get PPTX. So what you can do is use an OR and then add it in twice with PPT and PPTX, or you can, there's a variety of different ways of kind of narrowing that down. But that's kind of one good example. File name, and then you put in the file name of the file, title. So those properties, I think those are kind of the more common ones you could use, but those can really add to really powerful kind of search properties when you're doing search. And just real quick as an example, here we are, let's say author colon, if I just say author is Joel, here we can get a bunch of documents back. But if I really want to narrow this down, I want to say author is Joel, OL, asterisk. And that'll bring back all of the ones that are just Joel Oleson. You get it? And you can even see here, we can narrow this down further. Sometimes there's multiple authors on documents, just so you understand what's going on here. And then we can refine by result types. But the other way of doing that is, you know, sometimes these result types don't necessarily show. Sometimes people have removed that web part. But you can continue to do things like file type colon PPTX. I want to just see the PowerPoints. And you can see it's already on the refinement panel, it's actually refined it down to just PowerPoints as well. And it makes it really handy for being able to say, I'm looking for file type PowerPoint, and I want to see where the author is Joel. So that's a great way when you start getting, you know, hey, I want to start looking for things. Oh, I want to see what the file name also contains the word SharePoint. So basically the colon is contains. You can use, so there's other operators here, and you can see that there's the colon, which it contains. The equals says it has to exactly match that. And then you get the greater than or less than, which are great for dates, like when you're trying to say date modified. And then the dot is also when you're trying to say series. And there's some good examples on the SharePoint website, but not a lot of time to dig into those more advanced queries. But there is this keyword query language where you can even use parentheses, where you say the things that are in the parentheses are evaluated first, just like in a math problem. So there's a lot of kind of very powerful things you can do with search, and those are just kind of a few good examples. There is a new improved OneDrive. A few things I want to just kind of point out in the OneDrive. On the consumer side, there's tags. Basically, if you use the OneDrive app on your phone to upload your photos, by default, it can tag the photos. It's really, really cool, very useful. It'll even do extraction of text that's in your documents, in your pictures. Very, very interesting, really fascinating stuff. As an example, let's just jump out to OneDrive real quick. First thing here I want to kind of show you is there's a new search on your OneDrive. If we just search for something like California, you'll see it's even got autocomplete. I haven't even finished typing the word California, and you can see it's suggesting the word California. But also I have an album called California 2012. When I finish my search, you can see it's actually returning documents that contain the word California, also things that are in that word. But what's interesting as well is it actually has documents that it's done OCR inside of the pictures and found the word California, including my passport. And I've got the passport there for a compliance demo that I do in a different demo, so I won't dig into that right now. But just for purposes of, this was just a photo, okay? And it found the word California on my passport. Really interesting. The other thing I want to show you is, as an example, I search for dog, right? If you just uploaded your photos, you wouldn't find any dogs. Well, guess what? With OneDrive tagging my photos, it's actually returning a picture that it recognized as a dog. So that's kind of really interesting. And you can see that it's actually got tags on this image of animal and dog. And these are things I did not add myself. These are things that OneDrive is auto-tagging itself. Very, very interesting, and very useful. Like if you've just got, I've got a ton of pictures out here, and adding those tags can make it much, much easier for me to retrieve my pictures later on. GPS information as well is being preserved. Let me jump back. Now, what I want you to look at right now, as we're looking at these results, as we're looking at OneDrive Consumer, notice that a lot of these things are quite similar to SharePoint. Notice these, here we're looking at our dog that's coming from a camera roll, and you can see that file name is not very, it doesn't contain the word dog anywhere in it. Fascinating result. Now if we jump out to OneDrive for Business, you'll notice a lot of those similarities in OneDrive for Business. Here we are looking at OneDrive for Business, and a few of the new things we've got here is we've got the recycle bin. We can also see things that have been shared with me. But as well, one of the things that's really fascinating is this ability to then share documents. So like say I want to share this document with somebody. There's a contextual menu at the top here. And what I want to show you is this moving. First thing I want to do is I want to share it. So I click Share. I want to share this with somebody that's outside my organization. So I'm just going to type in even a non-Microsoft email, and apologize that you guys see the G word, but here we're seeing a non-Microsoft, totally outside your organization. In fact, it's reminding me of this. And one of the settings on Office 365 is you can share with people outside your organization. Now, you have the option of saying require sign-in, or you can turn off require sign-in. So what's interesting about this is it's creating a unique link. And rather than just inviting people, my recommendation and best practice is you click Get a Link. And here we can do the same kinds of thing where we say, you know what, we want them to just view this. But what we can do on top of this is we can actually set an expiration. Hey, I want you to pick up this file, but I'm going to expire this link in a month. And I can send this now. I can basically, I can share this as a link or send it outside the organization. Personally, I recommend these links where you set expiration on them so that they actually go away. And the last thing here is we can actually see who we've shared this with inside the organization with these right through this share feature. So that can actually help track it just a little bit. as an example, we haven't sent this yet, so I'm going to not require sign in, and I'm sending an email invitation to this person who's outside the organization. I'm going to set it to view, and I click share. Now we'll wait for the speed of the internet to basically send this, but in a second I'll get that invite to then check out the document. And what's unique about this as well, if I'm sharing this, only one person who gets that link can click on it. If they forward it to someone else, they aren't able to open it. It'll say this has already been accepted by someone else. So basically, there are some levels of security that are happening in there. Not, obviously once you send it outside your organization, there's some considerations about security. If we go back to the kind of the normal view, the kind of the more SharePoint kind of friendly view, we can actually even see here this document has been shared. There's another kind of interesting thing here is one of the things that's changed in a major way from between Office 2013 and SharePoint 2016 is how SharePoint itself handles files. There's a lot of talk about these durable links. Well, durable links and the block file types has already changed in Office 365. Now let me give you an example of that. If I go to upload, you'll notice I can upload folders now. That's pretty amazing. I've noticed there is a bug where you can, if the folder is large, it'll only upload the first couple. You've got to then go into the folder and upload everything else. But if it's just a file or two, it'll do a pretty good job. Here I've got some documents. Let's go ahead and upload this little sample document. But notice what happens when I'm going to change this file name, and I'm going to use an invalid character. Now watch what happens if I just click the slash. So you'll say the file system won't even let me save these characters. Now look at these characters for a second. / /, here's basically it's this level list. / / colon, the star, the question mark, quotes, greater than, less than, and pipe. The only two characters we now need to worry about is only two. Just the # and the %. That's great news for all your users. We see these big lists of block file types. Here's something for you. Basically, all the ones that your users are gonna likely use, like ampersand or using braces or things like that, maybe a +, those kinds of things are both now supported on the file system. Both supported on the file system and supported in SharePoint. So good news, you can actually see in SharePoint now we have both a + and an ampersand. And let me just, for simplicity's sake and for kind of demo's sake, I'll show you if I use a #, file system's okay with it. I move it to SharePoint. And instead of, as an example, this is a kind of a common thing. If you're uploading a bunch of files, in 2010, it would bomb out. The whole entire set of documents would fail. Now, with OneDrive and Office 365, we're getting a nice, friendly error message that basically says, oh, you're using characters, and you'll notice we've got in our list here the #, the ampersand, or the # and the %. And I'm sure there's a lot of kind of ways you call the # in different cultures, the hash or so on. But essentially, it gives us a friendly error message, but the documents that can be uploaded continue to be uploaded. And that works both with the typical upload. If I upload a bunch of these files, it will continue to upload the ones that it can and fail on the ones that it can't. So the good news is if you're doing 100 files or 1,000 files, it processes them much, much better. So that experience is a ton better. We did kind of talk through this already, and I'm running a little bit short on my time, but just suffice to say, the new durable links, if I use weird characters, if I then move those documents, if I then share durable links, if I share a link, that document, as an example, and I'll just kind of end with this one, the document that we shared, this one here, watch this. If I rename this, okay, so we just renamed this, you'd think, oh, well, that person, you just shared that document. You know what? I shared it, and I'm going to move it. And notice that the movement, it provides folders for us to move it into. We're just going to move this into a generic folder. There's a new little checkbox for move. I just moved it. Okay. Oh, looks like somebody shared the document &1 and 2. I click the link. What? I was able to open it. I renamed it and I moved it into a folder, and the link continues to work. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Raheem. And there are a couple of other things in this deck. First thing I wanted to show, I guess I'll hold on to this for just a second, Raheem. There's some interesting things about the App Store. A lot of apps, over 1,700 apps. Most of them are free, but it's almost about 50% these days, so we're getting pretty close to half and half. There's a ton of apps, over 500 that have no ratings. There's some more analytics at Sergey's link here. But on top of that, Microsoft has actually awarded the best apps in the, there's a kind of an Office 2015 App Awards where they recognize the number of the top apps. Here's some of the ones for SharePoint that you can check out. The best SharePoint add-ins, best user interface, the most business value, SharePoint add-ins, a few of those you may recognize, and some mobile app awards. And these app awards happen every year. But we're only talking about a handful of apps out of the more than 1,000, nearly 2,000 apps that are out there. And so finding apps is a real challenge. And so what I want to do is I want to summarize. There's a lot of great stuff. I hopefully these tips and tricks have been useful for you guys. And now I'm going to hand this over to Raheem to show you some other powerful add-ins.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so I wanted to start off with a quick background. Okay, quick background of where TruApps comes from, what it is, and really this story begins with my personal experience and our experience as a company. Initially, we started off doing a lot of SharePoint projects, and we got involved with a lot of clients doing SharePoint projects, and then we started also hosting SharePoint for many customers. And as we started using SharePoint, we have, SharePoint started to become our focus. It has started to become something that we are deeply engaged with. Many customers like a lot of the features that it offers, and we learned a lot, right? We learned a significant amount of wisdom from, dealing with clients in SharePoint. So people would open tickets, right? We would hear people asking for, support on various areas, past the setup and, building solutions. We were able to live with our users for a long time, hearing the, any sorts of tickets, support, their complaints, their praises, everything as they lived with SharePoint. And this is really what triggered TruApps. TruApps was designed to make the life of the end user a lot better, right? So one of our biggest missions here is that is to solve the biggest and most common pain points. That was one of the primary kind of goals of TruApps and the True Copy Paste application that you can download from the App Store, which we're going to walk through in a little bit. But really, it was just designed to fix a lot of the common pain points. And then after we started doing that, we started kind of adding more features that a lot of end users might find very useful. Again, focusing on what is common, what is simple, and what really makes sense for the users. Really not admin users. We're not talking about admin users. We're talking about end users, people that use SharePoint for files, copying files. And a lot of those people, those users are, we feel a little bit ignored. Their admins may hear some complaints and, sometimes they do something about it, sometimes they don't. But really having tools that enable users to be productive in SharePoint is very, very important. It helps end users be happier when using SharePoint, less frustrated. There's a lot of little things that could make you frustrated in SharePoint, and we try to tackle those with the TruApps. So what is our mission, right? So really our mission is to provide SharePoint end users with continuously enhanced tools and utilities that drastically improve productivity. And the key word here is continuously. By continuously, we mean, if you are a TruApps member and you install TruApps on your environment, then, every few weeks you might find a new feature added. And this feature is basic, nothing too crazy. It's really designed to improve the tools that your users have in working with files, lists, and data in general. So before we dive into a demo, I just want to kind of give you a quick kind of high-level map of what's happening here. So TruApps is, again, an application you install. It's available on the SharePoint App Store. And once you install it, it gives you some basic functionality. And the first stack you see here, I'm going to try to move my cursor here. So file operations, right? It gives you the ability to copy and move files in SharePoint. Traditionally, when you wanted to move files in SharePoint, it was a pretty discontinuous experience. It was not very pleasant. You had to jump from your Explorer, like Windows Explorer, from Internet Explorer, from the browser to the Open in Explorer view, and then back to SharePoint view. And sometimes that wouldn't work quite well because people had Macs or they didn't have the right client installation files properly set up, or they were using 64-bit window, 64-bit browsers, and that really was not a good experience for a lot of the users that we, from our understanding, from what we have found out. And what we decided to do is we decided to make TruApps the first, those file operations to be in browser completely, right? So users can clone files, can copy files, move files between sites, folders, document libraries, site collections even, seamlessly inside the browser. You do not have to leave the browser. You could be using Mac OS or whatnot. That was huge, right? We've seen a lot of success just providing those kind of tools to the users. Okay, so after we compiled all those features, we also decided to think, what else were users able to do on their classic desktops that they are no longer able to do in SharePoint? If SharePoint is to be the one place for users and documents and it's all cloud-based, what were some things that are common on the desktop that have been taken away? And the answer is that common tools like PDF conversions, right? We were able to convert to PDF. That's a very common process to publish files and documents, send them to clients, etc. So PDF conversions was added to TruApps, and then also zipping, right? If you want to archive and zip files, whether to send them or for whatever reason, we always had a need to zip, right? Shrink files, compile them in one file. So that was also added. We were able to do that on the desktop, and we wanted to transfer that user experience to an in SharePoint browser experience. And that was done. So we have that ready for people to use. Next step, we started thinking, what are some advanced things? What are some common use cases that people use in SharePoint? And we realized that templates, people would store documents, right? A lot of the documents that we use are repeat documents, right? And what that means is that you may have a proposal, right? And it's a template proposal, maybe an NDA disclosure agreement. Most of the verbiage is the same throughout, except there's fields that needed to be filled out to target certain customers or to target a certain person. Maybe the name field and the address field and the date field just needed to be changed, right? Another example would be a project file, right? Or a project, maybe a project plan. You wanted the customer's name at the top, you wanted their contact information on the cover page, etc. That was a template, right? And we would classically clone that template, and we would take that template and we would, fill that information in, and for the most part, 95% of the document is the same. We're just changing the the pieces that are customized in the template. And we wanted an easy way for people to find those templates that they build. Once you build a template, we didn't want it to be lost. So TruApps has a roll-up mechanism to roll up templates that your users use every day. And to roll them up, you literally have to just change the name and include the word template in the name, and it will roll them up into a template gallery, okay? And then we allowed the mail merge feature, which provides you with forms, and the form you fill out, and the data in the form that you fill out automatically gets inserted into the documents that you're working with. And this could be a collection of documents, right? And we'll see an example of this in just a little bit. Some of the things that we're currently working on is batch updates, right? You can select multiple files. Maybe you want to edit their properties. You'll be able to edit the properties of certain files in a batch format. And of course, we are open to other suggestions as well. So let's dive in and see that rich experience that we're talking about that the end user will have. Okay, so here we have a standard SharePoint site. On this site, we installed TruApps. And this site is a classic situation where you have projects, where each folder here is a project, okay? To access TruApps, first, let's see where TruApps sits. So TruApps is in the ribbon. We can select some files or folders, and then we can go to the file menu, and then we see here the copy and paste option that TruApps comes with, okay? Clicking on a copy will show us some of the cool things that it offers. So here is a page that offers us to copy the content that we have to any destination that we need. So this is our site collection environment. Here are different sites, here are different lists, and we can copy this folder with its entirety and everything underneath it to any location that we want. We can copy it to the style library if we want. And we hit copy, and it will transfer that file, those files there. And of course, we can navigate, we can create folders on the fly, and kind of work in a very dynamic fashion right from within the browser. We don't have to open anything in Explorer view like we used to do and go through the hassles of all the connectivity and technical issues that we may come across, right? Anything client is now able to use this tool to move and copy files. Now, along with that, we added some features around quickly pasting a file with a new name. Maybe we want to clone it, right? Maybe deleting some source files after pasting, which means that they are, they will be moved in a sense. We can overwrite existing files just like we could do with, on the desktop. We can copy columns, if certain columns were associated with a file and we wanted to preserve that information to be copied along with a file, we click on that. And then we can also paste as PDF. This is perfect for converting documents to PDF quickly and submitting them, for review or for publishing. We can also save as zip. We can select multiple files from the list on the left. We say save as zip, and actually it compresses that information, the files, and saves it right inside of SharePoint as a zip file, and we can specify the name of the file. Okay. We can also download multiple files as zip when we click download, and then we can also use this feature which enables us to populate fields directly into the form. We're going to take a look at this in a little bit. So any fields that we're, as we're pasting, all the files that we paste will have those new fields that we specify. We're going to show you a demo of how this is done in tandem with using templates. Okay, so that is the copy screen. Okay, another option you have on the copy screen is to copy whatever you selected here to clipboard. Maybe you're not sure exactly where you want to copy it to. You can copy it to clipboard, and then you can close, navigate somewhere else, and use the paste button to paste that information. This could be a different site collection altogether. This could be a different, this could be OneDrive, really any source in your tenancy. Any destination, I should say, in your tenancy. Okay, let's go ahead and close this. So that was the copy screen. Now let's take a look at the paste screen. And the paste screen is also a little different. The paste screen, here we're saying what content do we want to paste into the destination library that we're at, right? Now, the first tab here is the clipboard, right? So had we copied something from the copy, to clipboard, it would have shown up here. And we could paste whatever is in the clipboard in our destination library, which is the library that we're at. Also, if we have common files that we're working with, that we follow, they will show up here, and we can also paste those files quickly. This could be our favorite documents that we work with. Those could be, common templates, things that we work with every day that we like to paste, maybe a proposal template. We can follow it, and we'll see it quickly on the follows page. Okay. The other option we have here is something called template, and this is the gallery of templates that TruApps allows you to roll up, right? And the templates are defined by, any file or folder that you guys have as a template will roll up in here. And all you have to do is specify the word template in the title of the folder or the file, and it will automatically just show up in your list of gallery of templates. Okay, this could be anywhere on any site collection. Now, this is very powerful because you could manage your templates and not worry or have to remember where you put them, so you could use them again. It just shows up here. And if you're not sure, and as Joel mentioned earlier, this is actually using search. So it's searching by the title field and rolling everything up with the title of template. Okay, so it's as easy as putting the word template in your title. Now, this is very powerful because you can have not only document templates like a proposal template, you could have a template folder which has many possibly supporting documents. So for example, we're going to take a look at a situation here where we have a project folder template, and when we start a project with our client, we would like to start off with multiple files. We want to have the kickoff checklist for the project. We want a non-disclosure agreement, and we want a pre-meeting checklist, kickoff checklist, and then we have a statement of work that defines kind of what we're going to be working on. So those are just samples, but I've seen companies that have a lot more documents in their project folders, right? In the project folder templates. And you initiate a project, you clone that folder, and then you start populating and customizing each one of those documents to that client. Okay, let's take a look at very basic features. Okay, I'm going to go up one level, and we are going to let's do a copy and paste, right? Procedure, just so we see it in action. So here we have this project template folder that, let's say we want to clone that. We can go up here, go to copy. Okay, so now it's copied to the clip, it's now copied. We can expand our site, and then we can select the area that we're at here. Okay, we can create a folder for it, and then we can say, my new project. And we can paste it as a new name, so that this way the folder is called, actually, let's go ahead and create that folder first, my new project. So now my new project now shows up here. So we are going to paste it. Actually, we have a folder, so I'm just gonna paste it as a new name. Here we go. I'll paste that. Okay, and that's done. So, and just like that, we're able to clone, right? Cloning was never this easy in SharePoint. So we're able to clone that folder. And if we look at the contents of the folder, which is my, okay, there we go, we refreshed, and there it is, my new project 2. So let's take a look at inside the folders, and here we go, we have that information copied over. That was nice. Okay, let's take it a notch up and be a little bit more sophisticated here. Let us say that, instead of copying the folder every time, try to identify the folder, you know what? We already have this in our template gallery, so we don't need to come here and select that file every time or that folder every time. Let's just paste it directly. So my workflow would be to come here, directly go to paste, and go to the templates area, and I know that my templates are here, I can select it. That's that very folder, the same folder that we had before. Now, if I scroll down here, I'm going to paste it as my new project name. Okay, so let's say, our project is for, a company called Office Supplies, Inc. Okay, so our new folder is going to be called Office Supplies, Inc. And I'm going to scroll down here to this new column values and pay close attention to this, because this is one of the most powerful things that we've built in the application. And what it allows you to do is, again, we're going to populate this information in those forms, and this information is automatically going to be inserted into the documents so that they're personalized for that client or that project. Okay, so we're going to put in the project title. We're going to call it Office Supplies Project X. Okay, the client name is Office Supplies Inc. Okay, we're going to put our contact name with the person that we're working with. Let's just put that to be myself. And the client primary phone number, we're going to put some numbers here. And let's put my email address here. Okay, we can put an address here just for demonstration purposes. And we are going to ignore this field for now, and we're going to hit paste. So as you would imagine, right now, we are cloning the project template folder to the same area with a new file name, with a new folder name for the client, which is Office Supplies, Inc. And as we talked about, now we have the same documents that we work with every time whenever we start a new project. And inside of those documents, we're going to open the statement of work, and we will see that our project title is now Office Supplies Project X, which is a field that was mapped to the form and automatically got populated. Here's our client name, got automatically populated. Our client contact, the email address, and the phone number right within SharePoint. We did not have to open documents, edit documents, do repetitive tasks of going through each one of those folders to update the information. The client information is not going to be carried over. How many times have I seen templates copied over for another client, and somewhere, somehow, the client name, the old client name is in the new client document. Just embarrassing, not very professional, and it always leaves you uncertain about whether you have those fields populated correctly, or it just keeps you on your toes. This is an absolute solution to make sure that your information for that client is always up to date and automatically merged into the document. Okay, I hope you see how powerful this is. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the document here. Okay, and okay, so now that was nice. That was a good shortcut for the end user to create a proposal and populate the data with the proposal. Now we go in, we have those proposals, we populate this data with and customize it for the client, right? The statement of work, obviously that's something that probably needs to be opened up, customized for the client. All right, so once all that information is available and we're ready to send it for the client for review, so we want to send the kickoff checklist, we want to send the non-disclosure agreement to the client as well. What we're going to do, we want to send them as a PDF, so they're, so maybe the client can't tamper with them, or that's just the format that we're used to sending them as. So what we're going to do is the same tools that we have. We're going to copy. We are going to create a new folder here under our existing Office Supplies Inc. And we're going to call this folder to client. We're going to create the folder, and here it is. We're going to select it because that's where we want to copy the files to. And what I want to do is I want to paste them as PDF. So let's take a look. So as we press this, our services is doing its magic in the background, converting those documents to PDF format. Okay, and here we go. We're done. We can download a report just to see the status of the files that were transferred. We're going to close that. And now we have a folder called To Client. And as you'd expect, you click on it, and here are all the PDF files that we have. I'm going to click on Statement of Work. You can see that it's the same exact document with the fields that got merged earlier. That all looks good. I'm happy with them. Now, as a next step, let's take it one more. And now they're ready to be sent to the client. What I would like to do is download them quickly. So let's go ahead and use the copy feature again to download to your local drive, so you can attach it in your Outlook, or put it in a Dropbox, or whatever you need to do, whatever your workflow is. So we're going to click on Download as Zip. This button changes to download. We click on it, and magically it goes and it zips all those files inside of my zip here, my zip file, and you can see them all here. Obviously, you could take that file and send it off to the client, and they can open it. Okay, just like that, we were able to do multiple steps that would take usually a long time, and they're very repetitive, and we're able to take very nice shortcuts that allow our end users to be a lot more productive, much nicer experience. They don't have to worry about technicalities, everything within the true copy paste features here. All right, so this was a quick demo showing you exactly what TrueCopy does and the power that the end user has in using those tools. Now, how do you get TrueCopy installed? What kind of a solution is it? TrueCopy is available on the SharePoint store. Now, to access the SharePoint store, we go to site settings, site contents on your site, and then you click on Add an App, and then on the left side, you will see an option here for SharePoint Store. You click on that, and then here is where you can come and you can search, right? So those are categories of different apps that you can install on your SharePoint. And then we're going to type in TRU to identify our app. And then we can come here. You can see there's two different ones. You can come here and you can add it. When you click Add, generally you'll see a dialog that says, do you trust this app? And this is really the point that Basically, you're giving the key to the app to perform certain things on your site. And you would hit I trust this app, and then you will see it beginning to install on your site. Once it installs, you can verify that it's installed because you can go to the site contents, and then you will see here that TruApps is installed, or whatever app that you downloaded. Okay, so it becomes just like an app. Now, one of the biggest questions that you probably need to understand and answer is, what kind of compatibility do we have with apps, right? You know, there's so many different versions of SharePoint, Online, Office 365, OneDrive. What's going on, and how do we know what's compatible? Well, we put this chart together, right, to give you exactly the answers you need. And you can, you know, save this for later. I don't want to get too technical or too confusing here. But at the top here, you'll see the different, oh, sorry about that. At the top here, you'll see the different SharePoint versions. So here we have SharePoint Online. Here are the different apps it supports: SharePoint 2013, SharePoint 2010, and 2007. The first thing to notice is that SharePoint 2010 does not support any SharePoint add-ins. Those are the SharePoint apps that are available in the store that you install directly. Okay, and then but they however do support SharePoint solutions. There's a plethora of various SharePoint solutions that you can install directly on your server, right? You can install them on SharePoint 2010. Those applications, kind of like the TruApps, okay, those are installed directly in SharePoint, not on the server. In fact, none of the developers like us have access to the SharePoint servers. It's a whole new mechanics of building applications. Basically, they are installed seamlessly, and they access your data using tokens, okay? So SharePoint 2010 will not be able to support that. SharePoint 2007 will not be able to support any of the apps there. And SharePoint 2013 can support add-ins. However, it needs to be configured. There's some trusts that you have to do between your SharePoint farm and the Office 365 also farm, and it will then be able to download apps from the App Store. Office SharePoint Online will be able to support any of the add-ins, right? However, it will not be able to support SharePoint solutions. A lot of the applications, a lot of the solutions that are built today are SharePoint solutions. They're very powerful, but once again, we can't install anything on the server in SharePoint Office 365. That's why the SharePoint add-ins was created. Okay, just to add another layer of complexity here. So we have SharePoint add-ins, right? And we have all those extra rows here. So we have SharePoint add-ins, okay? And then we can deploy SharePoint add-ins using the SharePoint store, or we can deploy them using something called the app catalog, okay? The apps available on the SharePoint store generally have more restrictions than applications that you download using the app catalog. So, a solution provider or developer may give you an application directly. You could get it from them directly rather than getting it through the SharePoint App Store, okay? Also, you have something called provider-hosted app add-in and a SharePoint-hosted add-in, right? A provider-hosted add-in, this is an add-in that the logic of the application or of your add-in is actually running on a separate server altogether. Therefore, it's hosted, right? It's hosted by us. True copy and paste is also a provider-hosted app. We run a lot of the functionality on the server, do the processing, and then kind of relay back any results to your server. SharePoint-hosted apps are more front-end. They are generally less complex, and they don't need a server to run. They can just run on the client machine itself in JavaScript mode. Okay, so those are just things, and that you probably need to understand as you start shopping for apps and understand what the compatibilities are. Okay, so we saw A lot of things today. We saw the, Joel Oleson talk about a lot of the SharePoint tips and tricks that are focused on end users, help them be productive in SharePoint. We saw what TruApps is. We saw a demo of TruApps and how it can also help end users be productive. And for TruApps, we are building this application, this service for you guys to, for the end users to be more productive and more powerful. And we would love to hear your feedback as far as what you would like to see, what your users are complaining about in SharePoint, or common use cases that you think could be turned more efficient. We're open to your votes. So this link provided here, if you go to it, it will, it's a good place where you can throw some ideas and have some discussion around what you would like to see. Okay, and once again, we would like you guys to enjoy SharePoint and Office 365. The SharePoint Power and User, means that you pretty much have job security, because there's a lot of people using SharePoint and a lot of applications in SharePoint. The more you understand it, that's very valuable. Save time with search and power techniques, just like you saw with Joel Oleson. Search is one of the most powerful things in SharePoint, and if you know how to use it, you can save a lot of time finding documents. Of course, we also saw some keyboard shortcuts and techniques to also help you quickly access and manipulate files. And feel free to jump into the App Store, download applications as you please. There's a lot of them, some free ones, some trial ones. Our TrueCopy tool is available also for free for download and for use. It has different tiers. So please feel free to explore it. Let your users see what they like, if they like it. And we're open to questions, suggestions, and ideas. You can connect here with us with the Joel Twitter account, LinkedIn, slides, and here's my email as well. And here's a link to the TruApps website. You could get some more information. You could download the app directly to your SharePoint environment, and we can take some questions.
I think we may have stuck it at the bottom.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Basically, I will basically share a copy of the slides. Obviously, you're going to want the full recording, but for those who are looking for the slides, I am going to post a copy of the slides on my SlideShare. And feel free to follow me there for future slide decks as well. And I'm kind of an open networker, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on Twitter. But thanks a lot for everybody who joined us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey Joel, I'm gonna finish also answering some questions that were asked.
Sure.
If you need to drop off, I understand.
Yeah.
I know we went a little over, but people seem to still be interested, so I'd like to just kind of finalize it. And thank you so much, Joel. And I'm going to stay on for everybody else and try to answer some final questions that you guys have.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Karim.
Yep. Thanks, Joel. Have a good one. Okay. I'm still on the line. Joel just drops off, and I'm just going to be going through your list of questions here quickly, see what we can answer. All right. Okay. Can True also provide watermark? No, not at the moment. But that's exactly, those are exactly the kind of things that we would love to hear that you guys think is a good next step evolution for TrueCopy, right? Again, if you have any, if you don't have any ideas now, this is the link that you guys should have. I'm going to put that on the screen while we answer questions. If you go to this link, this is the link where we can have discussions. You guys can drop any comments or discussions about what you guys think needs to be added next as the next evolution. Watermark sounds like a good, good fit for something that is to be added to this. Another question said inside the inside the PDF. Okay. Okay, so somebody's saying, so you can copy between site collections and OneDrive for business, and the answer is yes. You could you could copy between SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. That is absolutely right. One thing to notice about the OneDrive for Business, though, is they have two different interfaces, right? Let me see if I can show you real quick, because that's actually really worth it. Many people are interested in OneDrive for Business and the TrueCopy feature. So let me go to my OneDrive here. So OneDrive, again, you can add, any of the SharePoint apps that you saw. You could also add them to OneDrive for Business. But notice here, this is a different interface. What you want to do is you want to click on Return to Classic OneDrive, okay? Because here, notice there's no option for you to add any apps. Actually, you can't add an app, but even if you add it, you won't be able to use it because a lot of things show up in the ribbon, right? So you want to click on Return to Classic OneDrive, and that is the classic version. And then here now, obviously, if you select anything, it should return to classic OneDrive. It should. I think I have to install the app first, but it will then show you the. It will show you the ribbon then, but make sure you're in classic mode. Okay, somebody's saying also, will TrueCopy keep all metadata that is create? Will TrueCopy keep all metadata that is create date, list date, and date? Okay, you know what? That is a very good question. That is one of the things that people really want is when you move files, sometimes you're not really moving them. You want to kind of migrate them, and you want to keep and preserve create date, last edit date, and and all that information that most of the time is read only in SharePoint. And the answer is no, it does not. It does not do that right now. We are very well aware of it. We have a version that we built, not available through the App Store, that will do that. Okay, so because the App Store does not allow us, remember, anything that you get from the App Store has certain things that us as developers can't do, and this is one of them, right? So it's not really up to us. If you want that feature, make sure you contact us separately, and we can get you a feature that does that. A version of the app that preserves the create by modified date. Okay, another question. Also, how about version? Are they kept intact when copying, moving? That's also a very good common question. The versions are kept when you are copying within the same site. Okay, so when you're copying within the same site, you can copy the versions or preserve them, or if you're moving them. But if you're copying across site collections, that's not supported right now. But we are planning on supporting that as well. To do that, we have to kind of bypass the SharePoint API and kind of go to a whole different kind of architecture to do that. That's just some of the challenges of building those add-ins. Okay, next question. Will the copy paste to PDF work with InfoPath documents? Yes, it will work with any document, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it should work with any document. The document could be irrelevant. A file could not possibly even not have an extension, and still it will work. So it really doesn't matter what type it is. Okay, somebody was saying that form example was fantastic. Seems to me that I can easily use this to replace most of my out-of-the-box InfoPath forms just now. It's not designed to replace InfoPath, the forms that you saw. I mean, if you were using InfoPath specifically for that use case that we showed, then yes, you may be able to obviously, install the app, download it, experiment with it, see if it's a good fit. But really, it was designed specifically for that use case that we saw, right? Which is when you copy files, it will push whatever field that you fill in into those copied files. Okay, I think I have some questions. Okay, is this app free? So this app has multiple tiers. Some of them are free. One is, there is a free tier, so you are today you can download it and use it for free. It has some limitations. Just go to the website and navigate, and you'll see the pricing page. It will explain a lot of the details about the pricing if you guys want to use it more of an enterprise fashion. Oh, okay, I see. The reason the OneDrive ribbon wasn't showing, so if you do install it in OneDrive, here we have somebody saying that you have to enable it, show ribbon. There you go. So two things have to be met for you to be able to see the TrueCopy or any add-in. Is first be in classic mode, and then go up here, and then turn, and then show ribbon. Okay, and then this way, this becomes like SharePoint now, and you'll be able to see the copy and paste feature up here. Okay. Okay, everybody. Well, I would like to thank everybody for joining this webinar. It was a 1 hour and a half webinar. There's a lot of things to cover. We are going to have a recorded version of this, so feel free to anticipate that email with the link and the slide deck and a lot of the other questions that were asked. We're going to summarize that all and send it to you. And once again, if you guys have any questions or need anything, this is a good place to start a conversation about the features. Obviously, you can also reach me directly. Actually, I never put my email on here. So you can also reach me directly at karim.roumani@techreach.com. Okay. If you have any questions with regards to the webinar, with regards to features, with regards to even Joel's content, anything at all, let us know, and we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear from you. Okay. Well, everybody, have a great evening, afternoons, wherever you are in the world, and we will be in touch. Thank you so much for joining this webinar.